What is going on, my friends, and welcome back to another video on the channel. Well, in today's video, I have a bit of a mixture for you all. I have two major cryptos that have pure strong technical breakouts that could very likely be on the way just within the next week, just within the next 2 weeks. I also have a crypto that I think has loads of potential, I mean ridiculous potential, and I also have a giveaway for you all that I will be talking about towards the middle of the video, so definitely stay tuned for that, as it is a way for 5 of you to win $100 in a crypto at its public rate as it launches. So there's so much going on in this video, so definitely do stay tuned. I have timestamps provided in the description down below. But with that being said, of course, let's go ahead and let's start with our very first one, which is going to be a new crypto that is launching again in just 4 days. Which is crazy. 4 days, okay? So, as many of you know, on our channel, I've not really been focused on microcap cryptos recently. I think as the market has seen so much uncertainty, there's just so many things, and there's so many things that could go wrong that can cause these microcaps to crash 80 to 90%. That's not where my focus was as an investor, and so on my YouTube channel, I kind of diverged my focus away from that as well. But when we see these projects come around, especially during times where it looks like the market could be turning around, I will always show you guys the ones that I think have potential, as long as you guys do understand that they are much more risky. But this is one again that's launching on January 17th, and what they're going to be doing is focusing on becoming the leading provider of decentralized CPU-based DevOps solutions. Now, to make this as simple as I possibly can, what they're going to focus on doing is they're going to have people rent out their spare CPU power to the next metaverse. So what you can do is, on all your extra technology with CPU, you can rent out that CPU. You will of course be getting compensated for it. You will be able to receive passive income, and from there, that is going to allow the project to generate some of these newer metaverse projects. So, for example, their first project will be Galactica, and it is going to be focused on providing compute power required to run projects CI and CD infrastructure, so they no longer have to rely on big tech for their computational needs. And I think this kind of is a way for people to start to see the more decentralized idea and the decentralized thesis and theories that are associated with crypto in many more aspects of the crypto world itself. Because realistically, when we look at some of these projects that have to rely on big tech, there is some type of monopoly there. And so these projects that come around, such as Nosana, that provide people and provide projects with the capabilities to see more of a decentralized power supply, I do believe that that has its, it's definitely appealing to me as someone who's a big fan of decentralization, and that is a part of the mass potential that I think that they have. Now, to kind of put it into perspective, they do something very similar to Render Token, and as we can see, Render Token's total fully diluted market cap is sitting right at around $2 billion right now, and considering the fact that Nosana is launching extremely smaller than that, I'm talking in the millions, I am expecting that there could be some significant growth if they are able to execute the way that they think they can, and I'm very excited to see how this whole thing does play out. Now, as you can see, they actually did do their IDO over on Solana, and that is now closed off. The winners, of course, can now participate in the token sale, but the ability to get in the token sale if you weren't in the lottery is not available now. But since that is the case, and since I did want to be able to, provide at least some of you with the availability and the ability to get in on this thing before it does launch, we actually are going to have some pretty good news. I actually did get the okay from the team, and what we're going to be doing is a giveaway for 5 of you who go down in the comment section right now and tell me simply what your favorite food is. You tell me what your favorite food is. I'm going to go out, I'm going to pick 5 winners randomly, random generator, and what's going to happen is I'm going to message you, you're going to send me your email, or I'll send you my email, and you will get the access to $100 worth at its public launch price, meaning that as it does launch, as it grows, you will also see your position grow as well. It's very cool that the team was, willing to do something like that, because I always want my subscribers to eat too. And so with that being said, do that. Let me know what your favorite food is down below, and we'll go ahead and we'll get you set up on that giveaway there. Now, overall, again, do remember, guys, that this is a project that, though they do have backings from the Solana Foundation, they did get a grant from the Solana Foundation, they are still a microcap, and they are still very new, and there are inherent risks to it, especially if you plan on trading and buying it on the day it launches. Understand that launch days have a tendency to be good at first and then start to come right back down a lot of the times, no matter how good or bad the project is. So definitely be careful, especially if you're looking to buy it on launch day. There's just so much risk associated with that. So please tread with caution. Don't do anything crazy. I'm not a financial advisor, so you shouldn't just go off my word anyway. So please, please, please just, again, tread with caution there, and don't go into this thing necessarily thinking that it's just a short-term 1 or 2 day thing. It definitely is, in my opinion, much more of a long-term play that has long-term growth potential. So with that being said, that is going to be crypto number 1 of the day, which is going to again be Nosana. All of the provided links are down below, and don't forget to let me know what your favorite food is so we can go ahead and get 5 of you set up with $100. So with that being said, let's go ahead, of course, and let's take a look at our next 2 cryptos that have some strong bullish technical breakouts that may very well be on the way. Now, our very first one of the day is going to be Fantom. Now, Fantom has had an absolutely insane ride. I mean, Fantom at one point was sitting right up around $3.12 to fall all the way back down to $1.12, a 60+% loss. I mean, it was absolutely insane. I actually did a little bit of accumulating up here, which proved to be terrible timing that led to me seeing my position fall by 60% at one point. But I did hodl through this thing. I just kind of waited it out. And of course, we are back to our previous glory, which is always amazing. And at this point now, it does become a process of figuring out what is next from Fantom. Is there more growth on the way? And what can we expect from the price in the near short term? So personally speaking, I am under the belief that this is looking more of a continuative pattern for Fantom. We saw some growth. We had to see this bit of a slowdown. We had to see, especially on the weekly charts, for example, that our RSI just pulled back at least a little bit in order for us to be able to continue our growth pattern into the long term. And personally, I am under the belief that if we do start getting some daily closes back above these key levels, which looks like around $3.12, I am under the belief that we could very well see some Fibonacci extensions happening just over the next weeks, over the next few months. Okay, so personally speaking, again, what I'm looking for right now is that we start to get some of these daily closes. I would need to see like 1 or 2 daily closes above $3.12. If that was the case, I actually am under the belief that we could see Fantom push up to this 1.272 Fibonacci extension up to about $4.18. The reason I believe that is because it has a tendency, once it starts to see higher highs on more of a macro scale, we usually will see these 1.272 Fibonacci extensions execute themselves. And so being that we do have this swing high down to swing low Fibonacci retracement, we can see that in that event in which we would see that move happen, it would be a push up to about $4.18, which could look like a phenomenal growth. I mean, that could look like even more growth of, 60 plus, 30 to 60% realistically. And so with that being said, Fantom definitely does come in on the list as the number 1 altcoin that I am looking to buy on soon. Now, do be aware though, on the 4-hour charts, we are seeing a bit of extension here. Things do seem as if they're getting rather overextended. And so what that means for us is as we are setting, RSI high number 1, RSI high number 2, and number 3, we are seeing some pretty extreme bearish divergence on the shorter time frames. And so what that means is that in the short term, it definitely might see a pullback. It might see a rather large correction. And so definitely I wouldn't necessarily be aping in right now. And if I was going to be getting in at $3.12, I would for sure be setting a stop loss probably somewhere close to around $2.75 to $2.80. Just to protect myself, just in case we see more of a fake out to the upside that does lead to this kind of crumbling back down as these shorter time frames do correct themselves. Now, looking at it from the long-term time frames, we're not really seeing extreme divergence of any sort. We, of course, did see some of these highs back here. We're seeing these same relative highs here. So things are evening out in the long-term time frames, but on the short-term time frames, again, it may take some type of large correction in order to fix this bearish divergence. And then from there, it will then, become a process of starting to see it slowly creep its way back up. So overall, whenever I do look to get in on this thing, if we do clear 312 on a daily close, I'm going to be setting some stop losses, like I said, again, somewhere around 275, personally speaking, and I wouldn't be buying until we were to see those daily closes because the risk of that pullback is definitely still on the table. So with that being said, that's going to be crypto number 1. Looking at Fantom, it does seem to have the potential to see some pretty extensive moves pretty soon here, and so I definitely want to take advantage of that. Now, the very final crypto that we're going to talk about today is actually going to be Avalanche. So Avalanche is one that saw some pretty extreme growth back in November, up towards $150. But since then, it's kind of died off. It's not really doing too much. Let's kind of zoom. Let's kind of get this a little bit closer. There we go. It's not really done too much, right? It's been in a constant downtrend. It started to feel like it was kind of dying off, that it maybe found its spot in the market, and that's why it's not really doing much. But I am actually under the belief that Avalanche is getting prepared to continue the price movement in which we saw before, especially if the market does allow. Now, one thing I want to remind you guys is that realistically, this market is going to react to Bitcoin. When Bitcoin crumbles, this market's going to crumble. When Bitcoin takes off, this market's going to take off as well. So a lot of this does rely on the market allowing it to see growth, but I do believe that these setups do feel as if the growth is coming very soon. Now, what I am going to be paying close attention to with Avalanche is this descending level of resistance. At the moment, we are sitting in, something of a descending wedge right now, but the biggest thing that I noticed is that as we did create this wedge, as we did fail to put in this lower low here, we put in a higher low. In that same time frame on the daily charts, we actually did go in to put in the lower low. Now, as we set a lower low on our RSI and a higher low on the price, that's going to be what we call bullish divergence. So similarly to how Fantom was seeing bearish divergence on the top side, which could push the price down, bullish divergence on the bottom side, if the market allows, of course, does usually tend to resort in some pretty extreme growth, and it does usually have a very good win ratio, right? We tend to see these bullish patterns and these bullish divergences play out quite well. And so since we are seeing that bullish divergence on the bottom side mixed in with a bullish continuation pattern on more of a macro scale, I am under the belief that we can see some pretty extreme growth very, very soon here. So what I want to see from Avalanche at the moment is that it's able to clear its 20-day simple moving average, which is currently right around $101. If we're able to get back above it and find one or two daily closes above that 20 SMA, I think that could be the fuel that we need to get back above this downward sloping level of resistance, in which at that point I would be looking to pick up even more Avalanche with the possible breakout target of somewhere. Let's go ahead and get this breakout target pulled up. We're going to get our Fibonacci extensions out, and we're going to be looking for some type of extension up to maybe even 166 to possibly up to $190, which could look like a pretty freaking good move off of our off of this line, maybe somewhere, could be 50, could be 75%. I definitely think that's possible from Avalanche. It's done it before, and considering the fact that we are seeing this extreme level of divergence on the bottom side, if we do see that break of trend there, that definitely could be the fuel we need to see some pretty significant growth over the next couple weeks, over the next couple months. So right now, that's what I'm paying attention to at the moment. Look out for the Nosana launch. That is coming in just 4 days. And then we also do have Fantom, which is looking to make a phenomenal move back up above $312. And if we are able to see that close, do expect that we will see some it's a very high likelihood we will see some growth back up to $350, maybe even $4. And then lastly, we are looking for this bullish breakout from the downward sloping trend line on Avalanche, which is going to first and foremost start with the clearing of the 20 simple moving average on the daily charts, in which if we're able to clear the 20 SMA and the downward sloping trend line, I am expecting growth of again 50 to 70+%. So overall, those are the 3 that I'm the most bullish on in the short term right now. It's the ones that are kind of providing me with the most bullish sentiment. Of course, I hope you guys do enjoy this style of video where I'm mixing some micro cap and risk with some altcoins and a little bit less risk. So if you guys do enjoy this style of video, please do, of course, let me know by simply just smashing that like button and subscribing to the channel if you are new. And I'll see you all next time. Peace.